So, Busta, it's with great pleasure that we present you with the BMI Icon Award, and the bucket reads, for your unique and indelible influence on generations of music makers. Congratulations.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't thank all of y'all enough for this. This shit is it's a little weird for me because give me a second. I've been in here since 7:30, and you know I'm super happy. So I'm celebrating, and I'm trying to not overdrink too early. I'm trying to not over smoke weed too early, because we still got to perform. And you know that's what I love doing the most. I love going in a booth every day. I go to the studio every day. I go to the studio every day. Every day. I don't, just 1 second. You know, ain't none of us exempt from going through real shit in life. You know, you got kids, or you got your girl, or you got your man, or you got your crew. You know, this is shit y'all go through. You gotta go through love and hell in order for shit to turn out right. It's the balance to everything in life, right? A lot of the times, though, when it get overwhelming, the one thing that don't argue with me is the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, the studio don't argue, man. The studio don't try to overtalk you. The studio don't try to manipulate you. The studio don't give you these things that you got to go through with people. So a lot of the times I go to the studio even when I ain't got nothing to record. I just want to be in this four-wall space and spend my money to be at peace. I never shared this. I go to the studio to be therapeutically solace. Peace of mind, balance. Because the motherfuckers that sometimes take you through these emotional roller coasters, you still got to keep in mind on how you affect them when you impulsively react. So you got to still find a place where you could be cool and then come back and deal. I love the studio. I love to write songs. I love to perform on stage. When I was 12, there was these guys on the corner of my block, and they had names like Supreme Magnetic and Lord Victorious and Freedom Justice Allah. And I would go to this corner store, and every corner store in my hood was owned by an Hispanic or an Arab. So every Spanish store owner was called Pancho. And we would go and we would get our candy and we get our snacks before we go to school. And then we come out, and then you would see these dudes with these names, and they was talking about what's today's mathematics, or how far was each planet from the sun, or how much the earth weigh. They didn't know that before my mother would get me dressed to go to school, because she worked nights. My father worked days. He was a self-employed licensed electrical contractor. This is Trevor Smith Sr. I'm Trevor Smith Jr. Good old-fashioned Jamaican parents. And I never needed for nothing. There was nothing that I needed that I didn't have. But there was shit that I wanted that they wasn't willing to give. With that being said, as my mom was getting me dressed to go to school, you know, Transformers and Voltron and all them shits used to come on in the morning. So you see in Transformers in a cartoon and you looking at these motherfuckers named Soundwave and Optimus Prime and Megatron, and then you get to the corner and you see Lord Victorious and Supreme Magnetic and Born Justice. They talking about these planets, how far they are from the sun. And I'm like, yo, I'm not learning this shit in school. What's this shit y'all talking about? And they was like, these is lessons from the 5% nation of the gods and earths. And I was like, what's that? It's the science behind everything in life. We're going to help you understand who you are. And he said, black man is God. And I was confused because I was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist home as a Christian. But I looked in the Bible and I ain't never seen no black dudes in there. I'm not trying to get on no super deep shit with religion, but the point that I'm trying to make was this was the seed that started to get planted in me that helped me realize I'm capable of doing anything as long as I believe that I'm God-like. God did. So I'm gonna nip it in the bud. I got a lot of beautiful people and friends that have been a part of my life for my 31-year professional recording career. I've been with BMI for 31 years. I never even considered leaving BMI. You know, Pharrell said some real shit earlier. You know, there's times where, you know, we got all of this overhead. Shit fluctuate. You need to make a quick call to get this bag. Catherine, how you doing today? But she always finds a way with the rest of the BMI family not to just give you the bag, because there's responsibility that comes with what you're gonna be given. Motherfucker, this is business. But because we love each other personally, we'll figure out a way to handle the business later. Because right now, this problem needs to be solved. And that's what I love about my BMI family. They learn how to prioritize certain urgencies. That believe thing, though, see, we all blessed with this gift. It's one thing to identify with the gift. It's another thing to believe in it once you identify with it. See, a lot of motherfuckers don't believe even when they see it. And then there's a lot of motherfuckers that do identify and believe and then don't get the chance for their belief to manifest, no matter how hard they work towards their belief. There ain't nothing more beautiful than to know as many that has deserved to receive their flowers, and botanical garden while they was alive that still didn't get the chance to. It's an incredible feeling to know that I'm living in a space where I can actually experience that right now. And the most beautiful part about it is, you see, I earned this shit. Ain't nobody asking for no spoon feedings, man. See, the beauty in the work is that when you love the work, it ain't work. Spliff Stars, DJ Scratchator, I knew them before Leaders of the New School. Spliff was the first person to slap me in my face when I was seven fucking years old. And when I was finding mischief in Brooklyn, East Flatbush, New York, my parents said we're gonna leave Brooklyn and go to Long Island. And that's when I met leaders. I moved out there in '83 when I was 12. I'm 50 now. I know I look good for 50. But Scratchator and Spliff were the guys that was the superstars in East Flatbush, Brooklyn before I went to Long Island. So when I went to Long Island and got with leaders, and that didn't last too long, and I'm super thankful for them because this is how I was introduced to the world, but I came back and got with my brothers, and I was actually scared to do this solo shit. But the beauty of Spliff and Scratch is that there is no moment that a motherfucker could compete with when I'm on this stage without them two. With all due respect, I'm raised in an era where competition was primary. So whether it was a disrespectful competition, Khaled know this best, it's called sound clash. Or it's respectfully competing. We could be cool before we gotta make the record. During the record, we want all the smoke. After the record, we could be cool again. I live by the same mantra. I run towards the headache because I love it too much. Dudes like Pharrell, they challenge me in the studio. Try this, try that, try this. That belief in being able to know that from 12 I was introduced to this concept by these dudes that were standing on the corner of my block in front of Pancho Deli, that I'm godlike, led me to believe I could do anything. So challenge me. Any beat, any artist, any situation, I wanted every problem that existed. I wanted it all. I ain't never been celebrated as an icon. But I ain't never have to question whether or not I was one. My first BMI check, I was 16. I used to go to this little studio in Hempstead, Long Island, and I was under the mentorship of Hank Shockley, Chuck D, Eric Vietnam Sadler, and Keith Shockley, the bomb squad from Public Enemy. It was recording at Green Street Studio, and Belle Biv DeVoe was making the Poison album. Not too far apart from that time, Ice Cube just left NWA, and he used to come to 510 South Franklin, Hempstead, Long Island, and pull up to the studio after Chuck and Hank would tell us, be here at 5 o'clock the night before. And we would sit in this little staircase and wait. Get hungry, we go on, we buy a little 5 chicken wing and French fries for $5 from this little Chinese restaurant across the street. And we would eat and just be patient. And they would pull up 5 hours later. But then they come through the door with Ice Cube and Jenks. And we used to be like, oh shit. And then they tell us to go home. We ain't working tonight. All right, cool. About 3, 4 of those went through, and we felt like we starting to get played. But then they called us to this studio in Manhattan called Green Street Studio. And when we get in there, we see Michael Bivins and Ricky Bell and Ronnie DeVoe. And them niggas had songs called She's a Groupie and some other shit. And was like, yo, we need verses for this. And nigga Hank Shockley said to me and Charlie Brown from Leaders, yo, write some verses for them. So we wrote the verses. We worked out the publishing split later. I ain't know what the fuck publishing was at the time. But I learned fast when I saw them publishing checks coming to the crib. That shit sold 3 million copies. I was still in school. I'm saying all of this to say, it's interesting how shit comes full circle. 16 years old, I get my first publishing check from BMI. 50 years old, I got an unbelievable catalog full of checks coming from BMI. And along the course of this journey, especially recently, brothers like Khaled, my sister Nicole, a lot of late night conversations, me and Khaled be on the phone, Nicole be like, nigga, come to bed, Khaled. Swiss Beats, Pharrell Williams, though. I got a bunch of pages about Pharrell. Pharrell helped me understand a lot recently about the significance of how insane it is to look for new results doing the same shit. Can't look for new results doing the same shit. You could only get new results doing some different shit. And sometimes, actually, most of the time, different shit is uncomfortable. Find your comfort in discomfort. I always heard that shit, and you know, it's always one thing to listen to some shit. It's a different thing when you apply that motherfucker, though. I don't know. I'm on tour with Wu-Tang and Nas right now. Just came back from London, me and Dave Chappelle. We did Dave and Busta's for the 3rd time in London. All this shit going on at the same time. It's interesting though, because before I started to make these necessary changes, a lot of these things wasn't happening. Sometimes it's good to listen to the people that actually love you and care about you. They hold you in a high regard, and they know where you deserve to be at. And you say, look, man, you truly a king. You an emperor. You a god. That crown that you've been wearing, you probably just let the motherfucker that was polishing that shit hold it too long. Put it back on your head, bruh. You're supposed to wear that. Heavy the head that wear the crown. And with that being said, I just want to thank everybody that been with me for the last 31 years. Me and Moray got a dangerous record together. Salute, Moray. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of things that everybody needs to also understand is Khaled does a great job with this. Embrace the greatness of everything. Your elder statesmen to the motherfuckers that's coming after us, because at the end of the day, we the glue. And if we don't take on the responsibility of being the glue and keeping this shit sewn together, you're just gonna look like a bitter old nigga. Ain't nothing cool about looking like that. Because I remember when we was on the block before music, we was hustling, and an old head went to jail, came home 10 years later. You run the block now, but the old head won't come home talking about how you supposed to do shit. Hey, yo, homie, I'm gonna listen to you as long as you look, sound, and still are the part. Because the first thing I'm gonna ask is if you don't look, sound, and actually are the part, I'm gonna be like, bro, everything you telling me don't look like it's working for you. Get it together, then come back and talk to me, my nigga. So it's important that we always embrace each other with grace. My man got a shirt on that says, God's grace is in Granny's prayers. Shit is important. We all pray and hope shit go the way we want it to go. But a lot of that shit is like, we've been gifted with the motherfucking shit you praying for already. Problem is, how you using that based on your choice. Just choose to do the shit you know you're supposed to do. Because even when you making the choice that nobody don't see, you think you fooling motherfuckers, even if they don't see it. The one motherfucker you ain't gonna fool is who blessed you with the gift. And that's the Most High.